Welcome back to the Triple Option presented by Wendy's. Mark Ingram, Urban Meyer, Rob Stone back here with you. Time now for Pick 6, brought to you by BetMGM. Place your money line, prop parlay, and same-game parlay bets at BetMGM. Download the app today. Please gamble responsibly. So we've got 6 games against the spread here on championship weekend. Mark is getting ready for his deuce dog of the week. We remind you, these lines are current as of Tuesday and can change. Let's start with the Friday night tilt in Boise. We'll be there live on Fox. The Old Trapper Mountain West Championship game. UNLV versus Boise State. The Broncos coach now favored by 4.
Yeah, we're headed there. And my wife even asked, said, "You've ever seen the blue field?" So now we get to see the blue field. And I've been watching a lot of film. That's hard to watch the game. You got blue jerseys, blue field. And I had to run things back a bunch of times, but never been there. A lot of respect for Boise over the years. It's a 4-point game, and Boise is the topic of conversation when you mention the non-4 conference teams that are going to make the playoffs. But I'm telling you this, Mark, listen to me. UNLV will be right there, man. They are really, really good. It's a 4-point spread. It started at 3.5. UNLV's 10-2. They haven't had great wins. Their 2 losses, though, they had, let's see here. They had 2 losses, are Boise and Syracuse, but they beat Kansas. Barry Odom, who used to be the head coach, I don't know him, but I've heard a lot about him.
He's a hot name in the coaching market, right?
He should be. He should be. How about your best quarterback after week 3 because of his agent or whatever said, quit playing? And then this cat, Malik Williams, comes in. Excellent runner. They utilize his strengths. It's a fun offense. It's spread option. It's a spread option offense, and that cat's all over the place. They got an excellent receiver in Ricky White. I think my concern with Boise is it's the
one and done.
One of the greatest players that I've seen, Genty. But I see good players around them. I see more balance at UNLV. I see a better defense at UNLV. I want to say UNLV has the number 1 defense in the Mountain West Conference. So I'm going to take the points.
Doing it?
I might. I need more time, but I'm certainly going to take the points. UNLV going to Boise.
And again, this is a de facto play-in game into the playoffs.
Absolutely is.
So much on the line. That's going to be a fun show Friday in Boise. Again, that one live on Fox. The USAA, American Athletic Conference Championship game, also Friday night. And how about poor Tulane, right? They're favored by 6 against Army. Last week, we were talking about the Green Wave. Remember, they went up 3 spots to number 17 in the rankings. They had a real good chance to get themselves into the playoffs, particularly when we now reflect back and see all the chaos that went down last week. So what do? They laid an egg at home to Memphis. One of those weird things about those Thanksgiving Day games that kind of drives me nuts. I know you don't get it, Mark, with Auburn and Alabama. You don't get it with Ohio State and Michigan, but you get it a lot of places. These Thanksgiving games, the student body is gone. They're back home. And the home games that weekend aren't as homey as you would like, right? The crowd just isn't in there. You don't have that student body to the masses that you normally do. I see that as a big drawback. If I was in charge of my schedule, I'd be fine with having that game as an away game, because to me, that's going to be more like a neutral site game. So Tulane laid an egg at home to Memphis. Good news for Tulane. They're still off to their 3rd straight conference championship game, but now they don't even host it. Instead, 10-1 Army, one of the feel-good stories of the season. They went 8-0 in their first year in AAC play. And scenic, beautiful Mikey Stadium is going to host a conference championship game for the first time. Here's the bad news. 3rd game coach in 14 days for Army. But if there's one group of young men who you'd like to think can handle that workload mentally and physically, right? It's the Black Knights. It's the United States Military Academy. 6-6 last year. Why did they rebound and have such a good year this year? Well, let's give a lot of credit to the senior quarterback, Bryson Daly. Leads the conference in rushing, over 1,300 rushing yards. He went over 100 yards 9 consecutive times and rushed for at least 2 touchdowns in 8 consecutive games heading into the championship game Friday. And by the way, he's coming off maybe his best passing game of the year. Get this, coach. Completed a season high how many passes? A season high, how many completions?
9.
Really close, 10 for 190 yards in the win over
Good for him.
UTSA. Army, a home underdog. Go ahead. Tell me you want to bet against Army in West Point. Have at it. Be my guest. I'm not man enough to do that. Army's magical season is capped off with an AAC title, and they earn it at home in West Point.
Like that?
All right, thank you. Saturday, boy, the Big 12 championship game will be at AT&T Stadium. Iowa State, Arizona State. The winners should, by all accounts, move on to the playoffs, and they might even get themselves a bye. That's a big might. They'll probably know what happens because of Friday's Mountain West game. But the Big 12, man, Mark, it's been wild and fun. And there's been a lot of coaches this week who are kind of like putting their stake down and saying, hey, man, give credit
Big 12.
to this conference. Give credit to the Big 12.
The Big 12 has probably been the most exciting conference all year. It would be surprising, but now you have Arizona State and Iowa State. Like, there's two contrasting styles here. You got a running back centered offense with Arizona State, and we love that boy.
Who?
Guess who? Cam Scatterboo, and the man is toting that rock. And then you got Iowa State. They're the only team in the country with multiple 1,000-yard receivers in Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel. But listen, Arizona State, they have one of the hottest offenses in the country right now, averaging over 35 points per game during their 5-game winning streak against the number one scoring defense in the Big 12 in Iowa State. So this is going to be a clash of, who can get it done. But obviously, we all know about Cam's, We all know about
Scatterboo.
We all know about that boy, Cam Scatterboo. He leads the Big 12 with 170 scrimmage yards per game. Second in the nation, only behind guess who? Your boy Ashton Jeanty, who you just talked about, Coach. But it's not just him. It's their quarterback. It's Sam Levitt. It's their wide receiver, Jordan Tyson. The defense is allowing under 15 points per game in the last 3 weeks. And I'm telling you this, what has been the Achilles heel of Iowa State? It's been good running backs. Ohio State has the number one defense in the Big 12, but they do have a weakness in stopping the run. And that's not good when you got Cam Scatterboo coming to town. Both of their losses this season has came against really dynamic running backs. Lost to Texas Tech with Taj Brooks. They lost to Kansas with Devin Neal. And now guess who's coming to town? Cam Scatterboo. I got Arizona State led by guess who? Cam Scatterboo, a.k.a. Scat Pack. I got Arizona State. Cam Scatterboo, a.k.a. Scat Pack for the dub. Arizona State getting their playoff berth. And we've been talking all year about Coach of the Year candidates. We've been talking about Cignetti. We've been talking about this and talking about that. But what about your boy, Kenny Dillingham? Arizona State was finished to pick last, Coach. Dead last, spanking last. And now they about to have a playoff berth off the back of a young, swaggy, 34-year-old head coach. And they are beast Cam Scatterboo, who was toting that tater.
34 years old. Wow.
34 years old.
I was 34 years old a long time
stoic.
ago.
Going against your old school coach, Matt Campbell, for Iowa State. But I got Cam Scatterboo getting it done. Arizona State to the playoff.
When did you go to Arizona State? Did I miss that on your resume?
I did go to Arizona State for an official visit. Official visit, and I love Tempe.
Hey, by the way, when did Scatterboo become Big Noon's favorite football player?
Last year.
About 7 years ago.
Right?
Last year.
Both are right. Both are right. Our crew lights up when there's anything mentioned with Scatterboo. All right, let's move to
Scatterboo is a dog, man.
He is. Let's move on to the ACC championship game in Charlotte, Clemson, SMU. Let's take you back to last September. Do you guys remember when Florida State and Clemson voted against SMU's admittance to the ACC? Maybe it wasn't so much about dollars and perception. Maybe it was actually about not wanting to play the Mustangs on the field. Matt Leinart has written this. We're all in on the Mustangs right now. Since making the move to Kevin Jennings at quarterback, the Stangs, that's what we call them, Mark, the Stangs.
The Stangs.
They have won every league game. They've scored at least 28 points in every game that he has started. That includes 38 or more in 6 of 9 games. As for the Clemson quarterback, Cade Klubnik, nearly led the Tigers to that signature win against in-state foe South Carolina. By the way, it was in Death Valley. It was at Clemson, so he probably should have done it. They went for 280 through the air, had another 62 on the ground, a pair of rushing touchdowns, but a late INT cost Clemson and Klubnik the game. His one weakness this season has been dealing with elite pass rushes, and SMU, guess what? Kind of fits the bill. The Stangs D-line ranks top 15 in the country in pass rush grade. They have an opportunity to get into the playoffs. SMU has an opportunity to earn a bye if they can get a signature win over an established program, the face of the ACC, a program that didn't have their back to get into the Atlantic Coast Conference. Mark, payback is a
mother.
You know what?
A mother.
Mustangs.
Shut your mouth.
Win the ACC in their first year in the conference. Go Stangs. Big Ten championship game. Indoors, Saturday night in Indy, Penn State, Oregon. The Ducks coach, the last remaining unbeaten team in FBS.
Yeah, when I watch Oregon play, Mark, I think they're fast. I don't know there's 40 times, but they're fast everywhere. They're fast on defense. They had 10 sacks last week, and a lot of it wasn't pressure.
Wait, 10 sacks versus Washington?
I thought you were about to say the last 4 games.
Yeah, last 10 games.
No, 10 sacks. Tosh Chapoy, their D coordinator, was on my staff, and he's phenomenal. He's one of the best motivators I've ever been around, and they play like their hair is on fire, man. When I say fast, I mean fast across the board, and speed wins, especially indoors. And if this was in a rugged, sloppy, nasty, I think it'd be closer. But I think I'm going to pick Oregon to cover the 3.5. My concern is Tyler Warren is, I think he's one of the best tight ends to ever play college football. I know that's a bold statement. I'm amazed, and he's got a really good coach, Koldenicki, the offense coordinator for Penn State, that utilizes him. I would find a way, and I said this on Big Ten Network, he had 17 touches against USC. I'm putting the ball in his hand at least 20 times, Mark. And that's direct snap at quarterback. That's handed to him. That's let him run and obviously throw it to him. Because I'm just worried Penn State just doesn't have the other spots.
Yep.
They have Katron Allen and Singleton.
Yep.
I just don't see the juice on the outside that they normally have. They're
Tyler
good players,
Warren.
but I just don't see the juice. So I'm gonna say Oregon's gonna cover the spread, the fastest team in college football, on that fake grass and controlled environment in Indy.
The game that we all thought would be Ohio State, Oregon. Instead, it's Penn State.
Penn State.
And James Franklin has a big opportunity to kind of get some of those naysayers off his back. He's had troubles in those top 5 games. This is a huge opportunity for him to kind of get over that hump, get his program over that hump, and get a bye, right?
Yep.
A bye. That is, wow.
All
right, what an opportunity
to
for
have
them.
a bye.
And
I've been
you
hating
wonder,
on Penn State. I don't think they're worthy, so they have a chance to prove me wrong.
Yep, I think they have a chance to prove a lot of people wrong. Let's put it that way. Let's go to the SEC championship game. Georgia, Texas, round number 2. Round number 1 went for the Bulldogs. And this one is at a neutral site in name only. Like, let's be clear. Atlanta is Bulldog territory.
Yes.
But the Longhorns, really, guys, depending what happens in Indy, they could enter the playoffs as the number 1 overall seed.
Round 2. Ready.
Round 2.
Fight. Ready. Fight. In week 8, Georgia beat that Texas tail 30-15. Yep. Texas had just 29 rushing yards, coach, and they gave up 7 sacks in the game. And Carson Beck didn't even play well. No touchdowns, 3 interceptions, coach. It was a bad day for what many may say is the best offensive line in the country in Texas. But they're different teams since their last meeting. Carson Beck has finally found his stride. In the last 3 games, 330 yards per game, 12 touchdowns, no turnovers.
Speaking for Georgia fans,
I can't wait. Where are you going with this,
time.
Mark? Where are you going?
I'm laying the ground law. But Texas, they had 29 rushing yards in the first game. Where are you going with this, Mark? They found an identity with Trey Wisner. He has back-to-back games with 150-plus rushing yards and 207
Where are you going with
yards
this, Mark?
last week versus A&M. So I wouldn't just assume this game is going to be like the last Which Georgia team will show up, Coach? We've
A
seen
or
them.
B, A or B.
We've seen them smash Clemson. We've seen them smash Texas.
Where you
We've seen
going,
them
Mark?
smash Tennessee. But we've also seen them going to 8 OT against Georgia Tech. We've seen this defense look like the Georgia of old. We've seen them give up 40 points to Georgia Tech and 31 to Mississippi State. So
Talk to
which
us,
Georgia
Mark.
team will show up? Who is playing quarterback for the Longhorns, Coach? Quinn Ewers is health. He's playing through a high ankle sprain. Coach Sark says he has some things to work through to get ready for the game. Is it arch season? Is it arch season? Carson Beck versus the Texas defense. What's this line, Stoner?
I knew you
Is
would ask
Texas
me
minus
that.
2.5?
It's close. Hold on, I'm scrolling.
I'm
2.5.
I'm sitting on the edge of my seat. Where
I know.
Are you going,
What could it
man?
be?
Oh.
Well, it all depends. I'm with you. It all depends what Georgia team is
You
going to
just
show
rattled
up.
off stats. Talk to me.
What's going on with this game here, Coach? I don't know, man. I don't know.
Call it, Mark.
Got to make a pick.
Hurrah.
There it
Georgia
is.
Bulldogs with the hurrah. They going. Georgia gonna beat them again this weekend, man. Out there in Atlanta in Bulldog territory. Beck playing better. The defense playing better. They had the wake-up call. You got the horns up. You got the hook 'em horns up. Beck didn't even play good in the first game.
I know. That blew my mind when I saw that.
He's playing much better. The defense was suspect versus Georgia Tech. Yes, they were. But I got the hurrah for the dog of the week. Hurrah. Georgia. For your deuce dog of the week.
There you have it.
Hurrah.
There you have it.
That's good enough for you, Coach. Did you like the anticipation? Did you like the climactic finish?